Hey everybody, it's the Oscars. I'm not really gonna waste any time with an introduction here. We all know why we're here today. We're here to talk about the Academy Award nominees for 2026. Luckily, I was able to watch every single nominated movie, excluding, minor technical awards. For example, The Ugly Stepsister was only nominated for makeup. I didn't really have the time to get to that. I also, unfortunately, did not have time to get to any of the documentaries or shorts, so we're gonna be skipping those. Sorry about that as well. Anyways, I managed my time horribly, but instead of abandoning this project, I just decided I'd make it a little less low fidelity than usual. So there's gonna be no visual aids today. It's gonna be just like me scrolling on the Academy website and talking a bit, but I should be able to cut my talking down to where I'm not rambling uninterestingly. Anyways, that's enough introduction. Let's get into the nominees. Gonna go through in alphabetical order, starting with actor in a leading role. First up, we have actor in a leading role. The nominees are Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Timothée Chalamet is personally my pick for this category. I thought this was his to lose as soon as I saw Marty Supreme. That movie is good enough as it is, and his performance is the transcendent glue that binds it all together. Leonardo DiCaprio is not going to win, but I don't think he'd be a bad pick at all. His mannerisms and performance have contributed to Bob Ferguson already sort of becoming an iconic character. Ethan Hawke is also not going to win, but I think he would be a very inspired pick. I don't think he was better than Timothée Chalamet, but he did single-handedly carry his entire movie on his shoulders with his performance. And also, his performance is truly one of the year's best, definitely top 5 without a question. Michael B. Jordan, I kinda don't think belongs here, which is funny because he's the most likely of these nominees to win other than Timothy. People keep bringing up the points of, but he played twins, and I just don't really understand that argument. Should Tom Hardy have won an Oscar for that movie he did all those years ago about, the British gangster twins? Should Lindsay Lohan have gotten an Oscar for The Parent Trap? If we're gonna talk about one actor playing multiple roles in the same movie, shouldn't the Oscar just go to Robert Pattinson then? Because he played 17 guys, not 2. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people rooting for him, and I understand why. He's a lovely dude. He seems very charming. He's very attractive. He's got a lot of fans who have very clearly never been paying attention to the Oscars before, and it's making for some really cancerous discourse. Wagner Moura would not be my personal pick. I thought he was good, but not really anything top 5 of the year worthy. That said, his performance was definitely good enough to where I can understand where the momentum for him being here is. I definitely understand why he won at Cannes. And while he's not going to win tonight, I would not be unhappy about him winning. Alright, next up we have actor in a supporting role. The nominees here are Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Easily one of the single most stacked categories this year. Benicio del Toro gave an absolutely iconic performance in One Battle After Another, and just perfectly embodied a character who is fairly important to the film's thesis. Jacob Elordi utterly killed it in Frankenstein. After seeing Priscilla, I knew he was good, but I had absolutely no idea he was this good of an actor. Don't think either of these two are gonna win, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happens, or unhappy. Delroy Lindo is nominated for Sinners, and this is a fine nomination. Personally, I think that if Sinners is going to get a nomination in the supporting actor category, that it should have gone to Miles Catton instead. But the Oscars do kind of like to do the whole, we forgot to give you one when you were young thing, and Delroy Lindo is kind of old, and Miles Catton is younger than me, so that probably has something to do with it. And it's by no means a bad performance. If anything, there's an argument to be made it's the best performance in the film. Don't think he's gonna win either, would not be unhappy if he did. Sean Penn is my pick and also my prediction for tonight. Not much to say about him that hasn't already been said or that I didn't already say in my One Battle After Another review. Holy shit, what a good performance, man. Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value would also be a pretty great win. And I also think this one might happen, although I don't predict it. Would definitely be a good choice, though. He absolutely killed it. An utterly heartbreaking movie made even more so by the reality he brings to his character. Next, we have actress in a leading role. The nominees here are Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renate Reinsve, I hope I'm saying that right, I'm probably not, for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Begonia. This is a pretty stacked category, I cannot lie. Sorry, I should rephrase. This is a pretty stacked category with one noticeable outlier, so noticeable in fact that I'm going to talk about her before everyone else. Guys, what the fuck is Kate Hudson doing here? Matter of fact, what is Song Sung Blue doing here? Incredibly mediocre performance in a genuinely awful film. Embarrassing that it's here, even more embarrassing that it's not the most embarrassing nomination this year. Believe me, we'll get to those later. There's a few of them. Jessie Buckley for Hamnet would have been my pick if you asked me a few weeks ago when I had just seen Hamnet. Now that a bit more time has passed, I'm kind of softening on it. I've heard a lot of very compelling arguments against both the movie and her performance from people, and whilst I haven't had the time to rewatch it for myself since then, enough doubt has been cast in my mind, and enough of these performances that I had not seen at the time are now in my mind as kind of being better. I definitely think she's good, but it's kind of the classic, very, very, very over-the-top, screaming, crying, drooling type thing that, like, look, it's not bad acting, and the Academy goes ham for it, but there's a lot of argument to be made that there's more merit in subtler performances. Speaking of which, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You would probably be my pick at this point in time. She has her moments of being explosive and very, very loud and bombastic the way that Jessie Buckley does. The difference here is that there's just so much more of a natural build-up to these things. It's not just like grief porn explicitly being done for the purpose of bringing us to those moments. I don't know, there's just something about the whole of her performance and character that just feels infinitely more complex and interesting than that of Jessie Buckley. Renate Reinsve for Sentimental Value would not be a bad pick. I don't think I'd pick her personally, but she would probably be, like, tied for my second choice right now, along with Jessie Buckley. So would Emma Stone, to be honest. This is one of the few categories where I don't really have any strong opinions on who is better than the others, other than Rose Byrne being the best. Yeah, I don't know. This was a fantastic year for actresses in leading roles, except for Kate Hudson. Get her out of here! The idea that the Academy genuinely decided that Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue was worth nominating for this, over Cate Blanchett in Black Bag, Lucy Liu in Presence, Julia Garner in Weapons, Jennifer Lawrence in Die My Love, Sophie Thatcher in Companion, Sally Hawkins in Bring Her Back. Like, come on, there were so many good performances last year from leading actresses. What the fuck is she doing here? Anywho, now we're going on to actress in a supporting role. Here we have Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Inga Ibsdottir Lilleas for Sentimental Value. Once again, I hope I am saying that correct. I do not speak Norwegian, nor am I familiar with its pronunciations. Amy Madigan for Weapons, Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Once again, a pretty stacked category. It's kind of interesting to see how much better the supporting performances are than the lead ones this year. But I'm getting sidetracked. Elle Fanning was really good in Sentimental Value. I don't think she was the best performance of the year. I don't even think she was the best performance in that movie. I don't even think she was the best supporting performance in that movie. I don't even necessarily think she was the best supporting performance by an actress in that movie. But I still think she was damn good and deserves to be here, which I really think speaks to how good the acting is in Sentimental Value. For reasons that are a bit too complicated to explain, Elle Fanning's role is actually one of, if not the single most challenging conceptually in Sentimental Value. So yeah, very, very, very deserved nomination for her. Inga Ibsdottir Lilleas is in the same movie, and whilst her role is not as conceptually challenging, it is super, super emotional, much like the lead performance and also Stellan Skarsgård's. Amy Madigan was fucking awesome in Weapons. She low-key might be my pick for this category, and she is also definitely my prediction. Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners is questionable, I think. I in no way think that her performance was bad, and I'm not upset that she's here the way I was about, like, Kate Hudson. But I'm definitely side-eyeing the idea that this is top 5 of the year worthy. Tiana Taylor absolutely killed it in one battle after another. I would not be unhappy with her winning whatsoever. I am a little unhappy that she's in over Chase Infinity from the same movie because I thought that Chase Infinity gave the better performance, but what can you do? Next up, the nominees for Best Animated Feature Film. We have Arco, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. If you told me when these nominations came out that Zootopia 2 would turn out to be my favorite, I'd call you crazy. Yet here we are. This is legitimately possibly the weakest Best Animated Picture lineup we've had in my entire lifespan as a human being on the planet Earth. Arco was mid and boring and for small children. What if Studio Ghibli was French and less good? 6 out of 10. Elio was legitimately embarrassing. That one's more the fault of Pixar executives greenlighting a movie that they then got cold feet on because of culture war bullshit, leading to them micromanaging the project into whatever fucking godforsaken mangled state it's in today. But holy shit, that still doesn't excuse its quality. Legitimately embarrassing, should not be nominated. The fact that it's on this list is a travesty. K-Pop Demon Hunters, fine, whatever. I feel like it's yearly tradition at this point that there's one animated feature nominee that is not good, but everyone likes it, and especially everyone's kids like it, so they just toss it a nomination, and I've just kind of stopped getting mad about it. It's gonna win, and there's nothing I can do about it. Little Amelie or the Character of Rain was kind of frustrating and boring. I wanted it to be so much better than it was. I feel like if you just spent maybe like another 6 months to a year writing the script, letting some more ideas percolate, you could have had something really special there. But as it is, it just kind of feels like a 45-minute short film got stretched to feature length. It's rough to sit through, man. Zootopia 2, yay! A good movie? What? They nominated a good movie for Best Animated Movie? What? Yeah, in case you can't tell off my reaction, Zootopia 2 is by far the best thing here. It's not even a question. And it's not going to win, and there's nothing I can do. I will be skipping talking about casting because it's kind of a meaningless award. They've had months to clarify whether this award is for, like, the job that the casting director did finding everybody, or if it's about the performance the ensemble cast gives. If it's a mixture of both, it's been entirely unclear. And also, quite frankly, I just think it's a dumb, meaningless award. At SAG, it makes sense because it's only actors voting, and also they don't have a Best Picture award. But like, call me a cynic, I feel like they made this up as a diet Best Picture because they know people are going to be mad that Sinners isn't going to win. Call me crazy, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me a cynic, I don't care. I'm sure of it. Cinematography, we have Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I don't really have anything to say here. One Battle After Another would probably be my pick. It's probably going to go to Sinners. Train Dreams and Marty Supreme wouldn't be bad picks, but they wouldn't be my pick, and I definitely don't think they're gonna win. Frankenstein is not gonna win, and it would most certainly not be my pick. The actual shot composition of Frankenstein is like insanely good, but personally I do question its placement here a bit, only because the entire movie is just full of that gross, overly contrasted Netflix color grading bullshit. Costume design, we have Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. I do think it's kind of funny how, like, man, we have 4 period dramas and Avatar. This is definitely the odd one out. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those old farts who thinks that, like, all your costumes have to be period accurate dresses for your movie to have good costume design. I love me some good sci-fi costume design. But, Avatar? Avatar is kind of questionable to be here, if you ask me. Like, what fucking costume? Are they the loincloths? The military uniforms? What? The other 4 are fine, I guess. The costumes and all the others are fine, nothing that, like, particularly blows me away. Especially given that I'm always going to be someone who's a bit more drawn in by, like, actual original costumes. Think Joy in Everything Everywhere All at Once, as opposed to just like, look, these are clothes from the olden days. For Best Director, we have Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. Ignoring other better movies that got snubbed, this is not an unreasonable list of nominees. Chloe Zhao's direction was easily the best part of Hamnet, and despite my comments earlier on wanting to rewatch it and having softened on it, I don't think that will lose its luster in my eye. Josh Safdie did an excellent job on Marty Supreme. I really wish he didn't just have a giant horrible controversy about him happen, because my god, this is the movie that proved to me he is one of the best working today. Went from making movies with his brother to making movies alone, and you cannot even tell. Paul Thomas Anderson's gonna win, and also he deserves to win. It's very rare that the Academy decides to do their, sorry, we should have given you this for There Will Be Blood, so here you go 15 years later thing, and it's actually for the best movie of the year. But that's how it went this time, so hey, we're lucky it works out that way. Joaquin and Ryan both did pretty good. They're not gonna win though. They're not gonna win. For film editing, we have F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. One Battle After Another and Sinners would definitely be the 2 biggest picks here for me. One Battle After Another, because how the fuck do you make a 3-hour movie feel half that long? Sinners, because I cannot even imagine editing a project with 2 sets of footage for the 2 twins. Marty Supreme doesn't have anything conceptually impressive about the editing the way the other 2 do, but the editing there is definitely still pretty good. It keeps the movie moving along at a nice pace, and in the more audio-visual moments where just kind of the experience takes over, the editing does do a lot of heavy lifting. Sentimental Value is not badly edited, but I do think it's a bit questionable to include it here, mainly just because the second act drags in a way that I feel like could have been mitigated by a bit of cutting. And F1 is here for some reason. Why is F1 here? Why is F1 here? Yeah, the racing scenes are edited amazingly, but those are like barely half the movie. The editing in the dialogue scenes ranges from dull and completely thoughtless shot reverse shot A-B cutting, and fucking Bohemian Rhapsody seizure-inducing jump cut hell. Stephen Marion, what the fuck are you doing here? Get out of here! International feature film, we have The Secret Agent from Brazil. It was just an accident from France. Sentimental Value from Norway, Sarat from Spain, and The Voice of Heinrich Job from Tunisia, and follows a technology specialist on the run from Brazil's military dictatorship. It is a thriller satire of police states that is just way too fucking long, man. There's some legitimately exceptional stuff in this movie. If you've seen the film, then you know what I'm talking about. The last like 20-30 minutes are amazing, and also that leg scene is one of the funniest and most memorable things in the past year of film. But the movie as a whole is just too long. I have no issue with long movies, as evidenced by the fact that One Battle After Another is my movie of the year. The thing is that One Battle After Another justifies its length. So little happens and it's so dull. I like a slow burn. I do, but I also believe in there being a limit to things. One of those things being my patience. And when it comes to limits and patience, this movie fucking tested them. Real shame, this could have been awesome. Begrudging 6 out of 10. From France, we have It Was Just an Accident. This is a co-production with Iran. This is about a bunch of former Iranian political prisoners who believe they have found the man that was their tormentor while in prison. They then have to deal with the dilemma of whether or not they have the right guy, and if they have the right guy, what do we do with him? The dilemma at the center of the film never ceases to be compelling, and the places this movie goes to are just so fucking gut-wrenching. I feel like if we're gonna have an award that is best performance by an ensemble, this is definitely a movie that should have been nominated for that. The third act left me genuinely speechless. There's also a shocking amount of really funny comedy in this, especially for how bleak the subject material is. Yeah, this one's awesome. Just awesome. 9 out of 10. From Norway, we have Sentimental Value. This is about an absentee filmmaker father. He returns to his daughters after years of a strained relationship, hoping to cast one of them as the lead in his new film. Tensions develop as a result of this, and we get to explore the family's relationships with each other and their art. I usually don't like movies that are just about the movies. They tend to be really masturbatory, but that one isn't. I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's a very quiet and understated film about familial trauma. The performances are really good, and the first 30 to 45 minutes had me genuinely really emotional. I think it gets weaker as it goes on. It definitely becomes a little too obvious a little too soon where the plot's going to be going. And whilst I like the ending, I definitely do get the arguments some people have had for it not jiving with them. But it's really well shot, really well acted. The drama and characters will probably touch you if you have feelings. Quite good. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Surat. This is a co-production between Spain and France, but I guess they can't say it's France because France submitted It Was Just an Accident already. Anyway, this is about a man and his son going to raves in the desert in search of his missing daughter. It's also nominated for Best Sound. It 100% deserves that. Doesn't have a Best Score nomination. I kind of feel like it could have gotten one of those. Absolutely heart-wrenching and a serious masterpiece in how to craft an atmosphere. This is a terrifyingly real movie that I wish I had watched more than an hour and a half ago, because as a result I only really have first impressions and not a lot to say. But what little I have to say is very good. I think it's probably gonna end up settling around a strong 7 to a light 8. Last but not least, we have The Voice of Hind Rajab from Tunisia. This is about a bunch of Red Crescent emergency call responders in Palestine trying to get an ambulance to a 6-year-old girl trapped in a car. So well acted, utterly harrowing. This movie will make you want to personally kill Benjamin Netanyahu in Minecraft. In all seriousness though, this is legitimately such a depressing movie. It utilizes real audio from the actual emergency calls made by the girl. They're woven in pretty seamlessly in a way where it's hard to tell when the ADR'd actor voices stop and the real audio calls begin. And the movie also incorporates real vertical cell phone footage of these responders at the very end of the film, in the most genius and hard to pull off way. In a seriously lengthy oneer, we see the scene play out in front of us in real time, with the video playing out on the phone that is recording it in one of the actor's hands. So fact and dramatization are being actively synchronized. It's not a perfect effect, but it's really well done, and was just such a nice little bow on what was ultimately a powerful and depressing movie. This one gets another 9 out of 10. Quite a stacked lineup this year. Wish I could say the same about Best Picture. We'll get to that in a minute. Next, we have makeup and hairstyling. This is the first category where there are going to be movies I actually haven't seen, unfortunately. We have Frankenstein, Kokuho, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. Frankenstein's makeup was fucking amazing and is going to win. Sinners and The Smashing Machine both had pretty good makeup, but nothing amazing. Sinners was just kind of your typical vampires and blood stuff. Smashing Machine was just your typical, oh, we made the famous person look like the famous person. Haven't seen Kokuho, haven't seen The Ugly Stepsister. I've heard good things about The Ugly Stepsister. It's on my list for last year. For original score, we have Jerskin Fendrix for Begonia, Alexandra Desplat for Frankenstein, Max Richter for Hamnet, Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another, and Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. This is definitely an interesting category. 3 nominees definitely stand above the rest. Ludwig Göransson for Sinners or Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another would be my pick. Both of those movies have so many great leitmotifs and just memorable instrumental pieces that stay in your head well after you leave the film. And when you're in the film, that music serves the story so well. I don't think the music of Begonia is quite as good nor as perfect a piece to the whole as it is for those other 2 films, but it is still very, very good and something that contributes to the really out there nature of Begonia's style, so I definitely appreciate that getting a nomination. Why the fuck is Frankenstein nominated? I literally could not tell you a musical cue from that movie. Oh wait, never mind, it's Alexandre Desplat, and he could fart into a microphone and get an Oscar nomination. Oh yeah, I remember. Max Richter for Hamnet, again, I didn't really find Hamnet to have super memorable music, and apparently, a bunch of the score was stuff that Max Richter already wrote 20 years ago called On the Nature of Daylight, and people are very mad about that. And I mean, you know, considering the category is called original score and not score you wrote 20 years ago not for this movie, I kind of understand the anger. Anyways, yeah, my pick would be Sinners or One Battle After Another. For original song, I'm sorry, Train Dreams had an original song? The fuck? They really need to retire this category. Like, they actually need to retire this category. This category is just sad. Every year we get like one song that actually deserves to win and isn't going to win. This year that song is I Lied to You. Then we get bullshit 1473 or whatever the chord progression is, fucking boring pop mainstream bullshit from some kids movie that's going to win, and that's golden this year. And then we just have boomer shit and Diane Warren desperately trying to... Diane, they've nominated you 18 times. You're only still getting nominated out of pity. Stop trying, Diane. It's sad. It's sad for everyone who's not you to watch you keep doing this. Stop it. Yeah, this category needs to go. It needs to get out of here. Get it out of here! Ah! Alright, the main event. We have Best Picture. Begonia, great pick. I think so anyways. Super stylistic, absolutely insanely directed, and super well shot. The music and visual flair add a ton. Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons give incredible performance, especially the latter. Jesse Plemons gives what might be a career best performance of his. The satire bites like a fucking German shepherd, and the comedy is just genuinely hysterical. It is not the best movie of the year, but it is most definitely one of the 10 best. Which is something I cannot say about F1. Here again, guys! What the fuck is F1 doing here? Legitimately, it's embarrassing. Why is it here? This movie is a $300 million advertisement for a sport. It should not be nominated for a fucking award celebrating the best art released in a calendar year. It's legitimately so embarrassing that this is fucking nominated and even in the discussion of best motion picture of the year. Get out of here. Frankenstein is up next. Everybody loved this one except me. I don't think this should be nominated, personally. It's way too long. And on top of that, the more it's been sitting with me, the more it's just been so frustrating how painfully without anything new this remake is. If you're going to take a story that's been told as many times as Frankenstein, surely you want to add a bit more to it than just your directorial visual style, right? Because genuinely outside of the visual language of Guillermo del Toro, what does this movie have that a different rendition of Frankenstein doesn't? I thought very briefly they were gonna go somewhere maybe interesting with Mia Goth's character, but they don't. They don't in the slightest. I gave this a 6 when I saw it. The more I've sat with me, the more it's like maybe a 5, actually. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna rewatch it, because I don't care to. Why would I waste 2.5 hours of my life like that? Hamnet is next. Once again, I wish I had rewatched this because I enjoyed it when I saw it, but I have seen some very, very compelling arguments for disliking it. I thought it was a really nice meditative exercise on the inevitability of grief and like just kind of life and love and all of that. But I'm also fully willing to believe that my own unfamiliarity with Shakespearean dialect led to me wildly misreading and misinterpreting scenes and giving things more credit than there should be. That is not to call this movie without merit. There are things I liked first time around that I know for sure are good. This movie is shot astoundingly. Both Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley deliver insane performances. The set design and makeup and just general period authenticity, if you can ignore everyone's veneers, is really, really good. There are just maybe some things I should have given more consideration to that I'm regretting not having done when I first watched it. I don't know, we'll see if this makes the cut for my best of last year list. Right now it is. Marty Supreme is fucking awesome. I could just pull up the IMDb page or Wikipedia page for this movie and start listing things that are in it, and it would just be things I like. I like that scene, I like that performance, I like that side character, I like that piece of comedy. The fact that such a scattershot movie with so many wildly disparate ideas and scenes and characters manages to be as coherent and as thrilling and as tightly paced as this? Honestly, just a masterclass in working on a script and working on an idea until it is perfect. And I would say exactly the same for One Battle After Another. I think it's kind of fitting that these two are right next to each other because I truly think they're the most impressive movies of last year. There are no words for how blown away I was by what Paul Thomas Anderson was able to achieve on that screen. The Secret Agent I already talked about for international feature. Sentimental Value I already talked about for international feature. Sinners is really, really, really good. It is a truly astounding film, amazingly shot, thrilling story, super, super funny, one of the best musical scores in years, and just an all-around incredible time at the movies. True, good, proper summer fun. Train Dreams is fucking boring. Isn't nature so pretty? Wouldn't it be sad to not see your wife for months out of the year and then you come home from the logging job and your wife is dead? This movie sucked a dick. And it's made, honestly, just all the more frustrating by how frequently this movie would remind you that it does competently know how to be made. Whether this one got ruined by Netflix interference, forcing that god-awful fucking voiceover in, or just something else, I don't know. But it's like a movie, it wants to be slow and contemplative, but it won't let you breathe. There's not a couple of minutes that go by without fucking narration. And it's this just cheesy Will Patton bullshit. Fuck off out of here. I had to slog to finish this one. Alright, we're gonna speed run the last ones because they're all just technical awards and I need to get this video edited. For production design, we have Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I have nothing to say. Frankenstein's gonna win. Next, sound, we have F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Surratt. Glad Surratt got picked. Super inspired nomination there. This is the only category, besides also maybe visual effects, that F1 deserves to be nominated in. Visual effects, we have Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. Avatar had really good special effects and is probably gonna win. I mean, what can I say? The year an Avatar movie comes out, it wins this category. That's just kind of how it goes. F1 did actually have legitimately great special effects, especially the more I've been learning about how much they had to do with special effects that they lied about having done practically. Jurassic World Rebirth is an embarrassment that it's even here. Like, why? Why is this here? It's terrible. You might be thinking, why have you seen Jurassic World Rebirth? I was cooking and I couldn't stop and it came on autoplay on Peacock, so I didn't have a choice. Haven't watched The Lost Bus. Don't know why I'd ever make a terrible choice like that. Sinners, yeah, fine, sure. Adapted screenplay, we have Begonia, yes. Frankenstein, no. Hamnet, sure. One Battle After Another, yes. Train Dreams, absolutely the fuck not, get it out of here. Original screenplay, all these nominations are fine. I would probably give it to Marty Supreme or it was just an accident. And that's what I think of the Oscars. I hope you liked the video. I'm gonna be making like a single-digit number of videos a year these days, pretty much just the Oscars, Halloween, top 10 of the year, maybe a couple others. And I'm going to manage my time properly so that the other ones actually have, like, visual aids and they're a video instead of me just talking and fucking scrolling on a web page. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye!